Welcome to the Positively Joyful Productivity Show, where joy isn't a reward for productivity, it's the secret ingredient. I'm your host, Nicole Louise, coach, wife, and dog mom. This is a no-kid zone by design, created for women who are child-free, childless, or an empty nester embracing your next chapter. You all belong here. Each week, you'll hear inspiring stories from women around the world and learn tools, mindset shifts, and practical strategies for living a joyful life. You'll also discover the science behind why focusing on joy fuels focus, motivation, and lasting productivity. Let's get inspired, get organized, and create a life full of freedom, focus, and joy. Well, hello, and welcome to the Positively Joyful Productivity Show. I'm really glad that you're tuning in this week. This is going to be kind of a shorty episode, and it's actually going to be a follow-up to last week's interview with Alva Gardner. So if you tuned in last week, you know that she talked all about Notion and how it has made her life incredibly easy and simple. And she also talked about there is a little bit of a learning curve with setting Notion up and kind of getting familiar with it. And I feel like with any productivity tool, that's kind of how it goes. Like you just have to kind of get used to it, play around with it. Like I think about when everyone was using Microsoft Word and then Google Docs came along and Google Sheets as opposed to Excel. And when everyone started using that, at least for me, there was a learning curve with that too. Like you had to figure out, everything was kind of laid out the same, but you really had to figure out like what do all the buttons do and what does everything mean. And so it's kind of like that with any productivity tool that you're going to be starting to use and incorporate into your life. So anyway, this week's episode is I'm going to dive into a little bit about how I have actually started using Notion for myself. And the reason I'm sharing this with you is for a couple of reasons to kind of paint a picture for how you can incorporate Notion into your life or even other AI tools that maybe you're kind of playing around with or looking at, and how you can get started and how it's going to make your life easier. So I'm going to jump right in here. So Alva's episode was recorded actually a couple of months ago. And so I've had, quite a bit of time to get familiar with Notion, learn how it kind of works, dive into some templates, look at some YouTube videos like Alva suggested. So I've had some time, like I said, to play around with it and, kind of get going. And so when I started, I was like, all right, what exactly am I going to use this for? Like, how is this going to help me? And so I think that's really important to ask yourself, okay, if you're considering using online tools for productivity or AI tools, like what exactly do you want to use it for? That's where you need to start. I think it's really important to have a routine or a system already in place for yourself, and then utilize a tool to make that thing easier, faster, simpler. So that's really the whole goal with using these online tools, AI tools. There's a ton of AI stuff out there, which I'm going to get into in upcoming episodes. I'm actually diving into the world of AI, which is really cool. So if you're into that, stick around. I've got plenty of stuff coming your way. But in the meantime, I want to talk specifically about Notion today. So anyway, as I was saying, like having routines and stuff already set up and then picking a tool to fit into that routine or system that's already in place is really what you need to do. I really don't want you going and starting out like, oh, I'm going to go work with Notion because I want to create a whole calendar and organize my life in that way. If you don't have a system in place for that, trying to learn a productivity tool and build a system that's not already in place, like you are going to get overwhelmed very quickly So I strongly suggest, in fact, I really discourage you from doing that. I want you to use these productivity tools or AI tools for a system that you already have in place because then you're ultimately just learning the tool and amplifying or simplifying or making your routine that you already have easier and faster. So that is really the whole goal with productivity tools and AI tools to make something that's in existence, make it easier, faster, better, though that's what the goal is here. So we're not creating our whole life on this tool. You need to have those systems in place first. So let me tell you a little bit about how I am using Notion and something that I thought I was going to use Notion for, but ended up didn't going that route. And I'll explain why. So, how I'm using Notion, I'm actually going to pull out my phone and like walk you through what I'm using it for. So, the biggest thing that I wanted to use it for was to just sort of like organize my to-do list. So, I love time blocking. So that's a system where you have like a specific amount of time. So, like in the morning, I have between 30 and 60 minutes to work on my business things. I have about 30 minutes to do a workout. So, I like chunk my morning into sections for those specific tasks. So, workout, business stuff, breakfast and pack my lunch. So like my morning is chunked out in that way. And then in my business, there's like weekly things that I have to do consistently. And I live by post-it notes, which if you're anything like me, like your desk can get like a little chaotic with post-it notes. And I have a whiteboard calendar that I use and another whiteboard that I have like a running to-do list on. And so I was looking for a tool to help me clean up the clutter and simplify that. And that way, I always have the list with me too. So I'll talk about that more in a bit. But so I created a weekly to-do list in Notion, and I was looking at templates, and some of them are free and some of them are paid. And I decided ultimately to use the AI feature within Notion. And I was pleasantly surprised at how fast and easy it was to actually use that. And so I clicked on the little AI icon. It's like a little guy, like a little drawing of a person's face. And you just click on it and you type in what you want to do, and it like boom, like pulls up a template for you, and then you can customize things to meet your specific needs. And then it just creates it. So I have this awesome to-do list, and it actually put things in that I didn't think about. And they're actually really useful little features that I really love. So my weekly to-do list, I have Sunday through Saturday, and I have tasks that I can start on each day. And what's really cool is there's three different layouts. So I can look at this list in different ways. So I can look at it by day, and then I can look at it by feature, so like or status rather. So they put in, this was the thing that they added that I didn't think about. They put in a status. So there is a not started status, in progress, and completed. So I can look at my tasks according to what has not been started, what is in progress, and then what has been completed. And I just ignore that because it's done, so it's off my plate. I'm moving on. And I focus on the not started and the in progress tasks, which is really, really cool. And then you can also look at it by like a list view. So there's like all of the tasks, which is kind of, it's kind of nice, but then that gets a little bit overwhelming. So I prefer to look at the daily view or the status tracker. So that's a really cool feature that has really helped me organize things. And I added a reset button. So there's specific tasks that I do, like record a podcast, create social media posts. There's a lot of things that I do repetitively every single week. And so I created a reset button. So there's specific tasks that I do every single week, and I've made those recurring tasks. And when I hit the reset button on the weekend, it resets the whole calendar. So those things that I do every single week get put back to, like the starting position, I guess you could call it. So like the status is not started and they go back to the day that I initially assigned them, which is really, really cool. And then tasks that I do, like those random things that only happen once, they are eliminated from the list. So it's a really, really cool feature. I've really enjoyed using it. It has helped keep me on track. And what I especially love about this is that, as Alva explained, Notion is available both on your desktop computer or your laptop and your phone. So, like, Notion has the same capabilities on your cell phone. I love that feature because when I'm at my day job or if I'm out and about, I can just pull up my to-do list and be like, oh yeah, I have to do this when I get home tonight, or I have to do this later, or whatever. Or I can add things to it. If I'm on my lunch break and I'm like, oh shoot, I have to do this, I can just grab my phone and add it in there. So I don't have a million post-it notes like in my purse at the end of the day like I used to do. So this has really, really, really streamlined that process for me, and I am loving it. So if you are looking to create a to-do list that's at your fingertips, and has these really cool features attached to them, I highly recommend Notion. And like I said, you just go to the AI tool and boop, it creates it for you. Like you don't have to know Notion. You don't have to really know how it works. It just creates this for you. I will say, like, play around with it. This to-do list was pretty intuitive and pretty easy to figure out. But definitely you want to like play around with it and, explore the features a little bit before you really get going. So the other thing that I created for myself, so that was the first thing. The other thing I created was, you've heard me talk about my joyful five, the five things that I do every single day to keep myself feeling good so that I can continue being productive and do things that bring me joy and things that I love. So I created a calendar in Notion, which is pretty simple to do. And then I created a template for the things that I keep track of. So for me personally, I like to keep track of my exercise, any health notes I need to keep track of, things that brought me joy today, and things that I'm grateful for. And then I put a little note section underneath that. And it's cool because you can do like text, you can do a paragraph form, you can do a bullet list, a toggle list. There's all kinds of, I'm actually playing with it right now so I can remember. A numbered list. Yeah, there's so many really cool features that you can add to each section. So I just do a bullet list of things that I do every single day, and I'm really liking this too. So the routine, this or the system rather that I had set up prior to doing this Notion calendar was, I every year I buy a little calendar on Amazon, that I can just pop in my purse if I need to, and bring it with me. I keep track of like, health things that are going on. I track my period, like stuff like that. I keep in this little notebook. And the thing was, like, when would have to go to the doctor, they always ask like, oh, when was your last period? And I always have to remember to either write it down and bring it with me or bring my little notebook with me. So now with this tracker, I don't have to necessarily bring that notebook with me. Like I will now because, this is a new system. But like next year, I may not have to remember to bring that notebook. So that's like a really cool thing. And then throughout the day, like I can just jot down things that bring me joy. Like today, for example, I had some dark chocolate at lunch. That brought me joy. So I could just grab my phone, boop, add it in there, and it's done. I don't have to worry about it. So I really am enjoying the ease of use with this and the accessibility because I have my phone with me like we all do anymore. I have it with me all the time. And so being able to just grab this and add things as needed, like it has really, really been a game changer and it's just really, really cool and handy. So I'm really, really enjoying this. So I do want to talk about one thing that I thought I was going to use Notion for and then ultimately decided to go with something else. So I thought I was going to use Notion for like a meal planning, grocery list, like shopping list kind of thing. And what I found was I did look at a couple of templates, and there's some pretty sophisticated meal planning templates available, which are really, really cool. They were a little too complicated for me. I'm a pretty simple person when it comes to meal planning. We eat pretty basic foods, I guess. Like, I love cooking and I love gourmet food and I love cooking gourmet meals and things like that, but I don't do that regularly. Like my regular meals are like protein, vegetable, grain, and some fruit. Like I'm a pretty basic person. So anyway, all that said, the meal planning templates in Notion were like way overkill. It was way more than I was ever going to need or use. So for me, it wasn't the best system. So, what I found instead was the AnyList app, which I've already talked about in a different podcast episode. And I talked about how my husband and I, like, we can both use the app. And when we both shop together, it makes life so much easier, helps keep us both focused when we're shopping and on track. And it actually saved us a ton of time, which I was like really impressed with. So again, for me, Notion using it as the grocery list feature wasn't really the best use right now. Maybe playing around with it more in the future, like I'm sure I could find a template and maybe it would be, something I could create in the future. But for right now, the AnyList app is doing the job. So yeah, I don't really feel like I need to use Notion in that capacity at this time. But again, like all of us are different and you have to figure out your system first. And if meal planning, like, again, I eat the same food like over and over and over, and not everybody does that. So maybe for you, some of those templates in Notion would be highly beneficial for you. But again, you have to know your system. You have to know what your needs are and choose the tool that's going to suit you best. So, with all of that said, if you're interested in getting started with Notion, I'm going to reiterate what Elva has already taught us in just go play with it. Like just get started. When you create your account, a little video, like a screen pops up and it like walks you through the steps. So it's pretty easy to get into it. And once you start playing around with things, it's like, oh, okay, this isn't so bad. So I encourage you to play around with it. If you're looking for something specific, like a meal plan template, a to-do list, something like that, like watch YouTube videos, use the AI feature that's available in there. Just play around and have fun with it. It's like you can totally get lost for sure. So maybe set some boundaries, set some timers. But it's definitely worthwhile if you know that you have a specific system that you want to digitize, then definitely go for it. And start small, like I did. Like I started small. I'm only using it for two things right now. But in the future, I could see how I'm, going to expand this and, use Notion for much more. Like the note-taking feature for meetings is definitely going to be something I'm going to want to use. So all of that said, yeah, I want you to go try it out. And if you do, head over to Instagram or LinkedIn and connect with me. Let me know how it goes. I would love to hear what you're using Notion for, because I think it's cool. Like there's so much that you could use it for. So I'd really love to hear like what routine or what system like you're creating in Notion and how it's going for you. So let me know. I'd love to hear from you. And in the meantime, if you are looking for AI tools specifically and how AI can improve your life, I talked a little bit about that with Notion and how it can improve your Notion using abilities. I actually have created a freebie. It's coming out very soon. At the time of this recording, it should be coming out. So it's the 40 AI tools that are going to make your life 100 times easier. So I have personally compiled a list of the 40 top AI tools that are going to make your everyday life easier, simpler, faster, and better. Many AI tools that are currently out there are really geared toward businesses and companies and teams, workflow systems as it relates to your job. And there's not much, I want to say this carefully. There's tools available out there for your everyday life and your everyday productivity, but most everything is geared toward business and like corporate kind of work systems. I am looking at how can I make my life and your life better using AI? And that's what this freebie is all about. So there's some really cool tools that are available to you. Some of them are free, some of them have subscriptions, and that is all laid out in this freebie for you as well. There's some really, really cool stuff that's, like I said, that's available to you. And they're really going to change the way that we live our lives. If you use Amazon, if you use Alexa, if you have the voice assistant in your car while you're driving, you are already using AI. And let's be real, AI is here. It is not going anywhere. There are billions of dollars being invested in AI research and development at this point. So you're starting to hear like I'm getting up on all of the AI stuff right now because it's not going anywhere. It is changing productivity in really amazing ways. And so I am here to be your AI guide moving forward. And I want to be a voice for women in AI. You probably know this already, but the field is dominated by men at this point, and moving forward, women need and deserve to have a voice in AI moving forward. So, anyway, that's a whole other episode in and of itself, but I just want to give you a snippet of like what is coming. I want to help you get familiar with AI tools and use them to your advantage to make your life easier, simpler, more joyful. So that is where we are going, ladies. So stick with me. A lot is coming your way. I'm really excited. So check out my freebie. I will link it below. It should be out by the time this podcast is airing. So I'm really excited. So yes, again, connect with me on Instagram, LinkedIn. Let me know if you're using Notion or even any other AI tools. Like, what are you using right now? What are you interested in? What do you want to learn about? So let's connect. Let me know. You can't connect with me via this podcast. So head over to Instagram or LinkedIn. That's where I hang out the most. And let me know. All right. That's going to wrap up today's episode. So go use Notion. Let me know how it's going. You have a beautiful week ahead, and I will chat with you very soon.